So filmmaking is such a dynamic and complex process that few films are rarely precisely the same project and vision that they started out as. Whatever the root cause, these 10 films are all notable for cutting a character, plotline, or payoff that audiences quite reasonably expected to see. So with that in mind, I am Gareth, this is What Culture, and here are 10 movies that unbelievably cut what we wanted to see. Number 10. Classic Galactus, Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer. Even though 2005's Fantastic Four movie was a massive disappointment, fans could not help but get more excited for the sequel, which promised the presence of not only the Silver Surfer, but also legendary comic book villain Galactus. And though Rise of the Silver Surfer gave its titular superhero a pretty solid stab, the film's treatment of Galactus, or rather lack thereof, left most fans infuriated and a bit underwhelmed. In the comics, Galactus was a godlike cosmic entity who typically took a humanoid form, with an iconic helmet no less, as he devoured worlds to sustain his own life. But due to Fox insisting upon a discreet rendition of the supervillain, Galactus' traditional design was cast aside in favour of, well, a cloud. VFX team Weta Digital convinced Fox to let them add some subtle visual references to the villain's classic look. You can see a fiery silhouette within the cloud at one point, but even so, removing so much of Galactus' presence in a misguided quest for discretion left just about everyone feeling unhappy. Cloud Galactus didn't even work on his own terms, ensuring the film's third act limped its way to the finish line, and almost immediately out of traumatized fans' minds. But now it's back and you are so welcome. At least we're finally set to get a proper Galactus in the upcoming MCU Fantastic Four the way. It's about damn time. Number 9. The Diamond Heist: Reservoir Dogs. On the total opposite end of the spectrum, we have a major story element that was cut from a movie that, despite fans' insatiable curiosity, totally worked on a creative level. Quentin Tarantino's feature debut revolves around a gang of thieves who attempt to evade the feds following a botched diamond heist. And while narrative conventions dictate that the failed heist would probably take place at the end of the film's first act, Tarantino makes the bold decision not to show it at all. We briefly catch a glimpse of Mr. Pink fleeing the cops in the immediate aftermath of the attempted robbery, but nothing from the actual heist itself. Tarantino has stated in interviews that this was originally in order to keep the film's budget low, but upon realizing that it allowed him to train the audience's focus away from the heist, he doubled down on his decision. And though the script does make numerous tantalizing references to what actually went down, namely Mr. Blonde killing a civilian who triggered an alarm, the details are mostly kept brilliantly, if agonizingly ambiguous. Most would have loved to see the heist, of course, but in terms of what worked best for the story in its final form, Tarantino absolutely made the right call here. By feeding us scattered morsels of what happened, he perfectly conveyed the confused chaos of it all. A masterful move. Number 8. Liam Neeson punches wolves: The Grey. The marketing for 2012's Liam Neeson starring survival thriller The Grey was centered around the memorable visual of Neeson's protagonist John Otway taping broken bottles to his hands as he prepared to punch a wolf in the face. Man, I'm fired up just thinking about it. It was a killer selling point, if a cheeky one considering that Joe Carnahan's film actually denies audiences the pleasure of watching Neeson lay the smack down on a hungry wolf. You see, this sequence is the very last in the film, and Carnahan smash cuts to black just as Otway starts running towards the wolf. So abruptly, in fact, that several trailer shots of Neeson running towards said wolf are not even in the final movie. Viewers who stay through the credits do at least get to see a post-credit shot of Otway leaned against the seemingly dying wolf, his fate unclear. Even so, giving audiences the prelude and aftermath of the fight without the fight itself understandably left many people annoyed. And with that in mind, I want to know right now what movie moment annoyed you the most. You let me know in the comment section down below. We'll rant, we'll shake our fists virtually, we'll have a good time. Number 7. LV-426: Prometheus. The marketing for Ridley Scott's Prometheus hyped the film up as a direct prequel to Scott's Alien, teasing that it would reveal the origins of both the space jockey and the xenomorph, while detailing the exact lead-in to what happened on LV-426 in Scott's 1979 original. But Fox and Scott pulled something of a bait and switch in the end, as it actually turned out that the events of Prometheus took place on LV-223, which was a moon in close proximity to LV-426, where some suspiciously similar similar events unfolded. Prometheus, of course, features countless iconic elements synonymous with Alien, such as an identical derelict ship, while revealing the space jockey to be a humanoid extraterrestrial known as an engineer, and demonstrating the convoluted means through which the proto-xenomorph came into existence. But for some reason, either Fox or Scott didn't want to make Prometheus a direct lead-in to Alien, shifting the action instead to a nearby, near-identical place where near-identical events could play out with the safety of not labeling it a straight prequel. However, John Spaihts' original script for the film, entitled Alien Engineers, did indeed take place on LV-426, and it wasn't until Damon Lindelof came aboard for a rewrite that it was decided to distance the film's story somewhat from Alien. Given that Scott and co clearly had a firm outline from which to create a meaningful explanation of what happened on the planet, having Prometheus' story take place on a copy-paste moon with hilariously similar events was stupefyingly lazy, if not straight up cowardly. There, I said it, I got it off my chest, I'm okay now. Number 6, Peeves, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. It's not terribly surprising that much had to be cut from J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter books in order to make them more streamlined and easily digestible for mainstream movie audiences. However, there's one especially controversial omission frequently called out by fans, and that's the exclusion of Peeves the Poltergeist, a mischievous comic relief character who, despite contributing little to the series' overarching narrative, was an undeniable fan favourite. Fans expected to see him in Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, but alas, he was disappointingly absent. It gets worse though, as scenes featuring Peeves were in fact shot for the film, with the late great Rick Mayall playing the part, but due to pacing issues, director Chris Columbus cut all of his scenes. Prior to his death, Mayall talked about the process of being cut from the film, and though there have been murmurs of Columbus releasing a director's cut with the scenes restored, today we still haven't seen a single frame of Mayall as Peeves. That single image floating around online is a fake, by the way. Returning these scenes to the film would serve the double purpose of bringing another classic element of Potter lore to the big screen, and giving fans of the late comic legend one final performance to savour. So come on, Warner Brothers, get on it. Thanks for spending a bit of time with us today here at What Culture, you lovely person you. Now hit that subscribe button down below and you're going to get more of these What Culture videos on your screen. They're going to be coming at you all over the place. You're going to have to catch them, put them in your face, put them in your eyes, you'll have a good time. Number 5, Billy versus the Predator. John McTiernan's Predator is not much for subtlety. A beautiful, blunt object of a movie that's nevertheless one of the greatest action films of the 20th century. I love it. But there is one especially curious, potentially badass moment that McTiernan bizarrely shields the audience from, and that is the death of Soldier Billy. After witnessing the slaughter of Mac and Dylan at the hands of the light-bending extraterrestrial, Billy ditches his weapons and challenges the Predator to a mano-a-mano fight, which he promptly loses. Off-screen. Given that the film has shown the audience countless skinned bodies, an exploded head, and a dismembered arm by this point, denying them the pleasure of a battle between the two seems like a bit of an odd move, really, especially as we subsequently get to see the Predator claim Billy's skull, spinal cord, and all as a trophy. Fans continue to debate the nature of Billy's demise in the movie. Was he insane, or was he just buying his comrades some time? But given McTiernan's otherwise totally unrestrained approach to violence, it was a weird directorial move. Even so, it was the most badass ground-standing moment in the entire series until 2010's Predators, when a dude took on a predator with a damn samurai sword, and my god, we actually got to see that fight and it was awesome. I just rewatched it recently, it was a good time, you go and do it too. Number 4, Rocky vs. Apollo 3. Rocky 3. Rocky 3 may be far from the best entry into the boxing film franchise, but it does boast one of the greatest non-committal endings in movie history, in a genre so little known for its ambiguous finales, no less. After the first film concluded with Rocky Balboa losing to heavyweight champion Apollo Creed by split decision, Rocky 2 climaxed with a rematch, with Rocky winning this time via knockout. Rocky 3 switches things up, however, by having Creed train his former adversary as he seeks to reclaim the heavyweight title from Clubber Lang, which he successfully does at the end of the movie. What a moment. But the film's brilliant final scene sees Rocky and Apollo lacing up for a private third match, with nothing more than pride at stake. Yet just as both men throw their first punches, the credits roll on a freeze frame. It was a fantastically artful way to tease audiences that Rocky and Apollo finally learned who the better boxer really was. But we, the audience, were left to debate the outcome for more than 3 decades. The mystery was finally put to bed in 2015's Creed, when an aged Rocky reveals to Apollo's son Adonis the outcome of the fight, that Apollo was indeed the winner. Though some fans have speculated that Rocky could have lied to Adonis here, is it really in Rocky's good-hearted character to do such a thing? He was telling the truth, folks, even if for many being denied the opportunity to witness their rubber match will be a permanent frustration. Number 3, The Future War Extended, Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Terminator 2's opening Future War sequence is absolutely unforgettable, but James Cameron's original script actually featured a far more comprehensive version of the scene. Originally, Cameron intended to show not only the defeat of Skynet at the hands of the human resistance, but also Kyle Reese and the T-800 being sent through the time displacement field, all narrated by an adult John Connor no less. But due to budgetary and pacing concerns, the scene was whittled down during pre-production, until it became a more concise documentary-style vignette, which is nothing if not a blisteringly efficient outline of the movie's stakes. Still, when you're talking about a filmmaker as shrewd and skilled as Cameron is, it's never cool to hear his imagination being limited by something as basic as money. While absolutely not a necessary part of the movie, it absolutely would have added something significant for fans, who have instead had to settle for iffy glimpses of Resistance time travel tech in the subsequent Terminator sequels. Number 2, Thanos destroys Xandar, Avengers Infinity War. No absent scene has been more complained about in recent years anyway than the bizarre decision to omit Thanos retrieving the Power Stone from Xandar and promptly destroying the planet at the start of Avengers Infinity War. The film instead opens with Thanos having already gained possession of the Power Stone, and only a single spoken reference is made to Thanos decimating Xandar throughout the rest of the movie. Naturally, the Russo brothers have been quizzed extensively about their decision to delete this seemingly pivotal moment, and on Infinity War's director's commentary, Joe Russo said it was an attempt to not be repetitive. We decided to cut it from the script and start in the middle of the story. From the standpoint of storytelling economy, it was absolutely the right decision, though many fans are nevertheless still hoping that a potential Nova project might show audiences the destruction of Xandar from his perspective. It'd sure be one hell of a hook for his origin story, right? Number 1, Maturin the Turtle, It Chapter 2. Adapting Stephen King's legendary horror novel to the big screen was a gargantuan challenge for many reasons. Most of all, that the nasty content of King's book doesn't really lend itself well to a big-budget Hollywood movie. But the first It towed the line brilliantly, delivering the R-rated, boundary-pushing violence that fans hoped for, while nevertheless omitting the ickier aspects of King's source material, namely a sequence where the young losers engage in an orgy in order to heighten their bond. And while it's easy to argue for that specific cut, It Chapter 2 disappointingly excludes one of the most beloved and honestly insane elements from the book. We're talking, of course, about Maturin, the novel's gigantic cosmic turtle who vomited the universe into existence, yep, really, serves as Pennywise's natural enemy and provides Bill with advice on how to defeat the entity. Yep, double up. In a 170-minute movie that features a ridiculous Native American ritual in an attempt to defeat a shape-shifting alien who masquerades as a clown, is a godlike turtle really where we're drawing the line here? Yeah, is it? Director Andy Muschietti has stated that he did actually shoot a scene for the first movie where Bill briefly encounters Maturin, but it never made the cut, though it could still appear in the once-planned director's cut, I guess, if that ever happens. As for Chapter 2, though it features a few nods to Maturin, a model turtle is visible on a school desk and the root that adult Bill is poisoned with is actually called Maturin, the gloriously insane CGI talking turtle many fans wanted to see is sadly totally absent. Boo.